Welcome to DIY Easy Crafts and BlueDayzGear.com. Today we're going to take a look at how to make a 12-volt light strip with removable mount for Jon Boats or skiffs. Now this is my little Boston whaler wannabe. It's called the Delquay Dory 13 foot. We do a lot of fishing and clamming and duck hunting, etc. But I wanted a set of 12-volt lights, nice and bright, for jacking at night, for crabbing. And I came up with a pretty cool system that's very easily installed and is completely removable. Now I'm not saying that this exact design will work on your boat, but I put the video together. I figure people can use whatever elements of the video or of the design that they desire. The way that my system works is that the back slides into a mount and then the front pivots into place and is actually secured by holding up against the bottom of the rub rail. And I'll show you in detail exactly how that works. And then both sides, the port and the starboard, are held together with a crossbar. And once it's in position, it's a pretty solid, stable light bar. You know, it's mountable within a minute and comes off equally as easy. Now this is the front of my skiff. Not much to work with. There's a cleat on both sides, on the port and the starboard. I already mounted these pipe brackets. That's actually what I use for the upright shaft on my duck hunting blind. I'm going to use that for these lights as well. And the original concept was going to be to tie both bars into the cleat. I found these 12-volt light strips on Amazon, and I will put a link in the description below. These were $20. I think they were $28 for a set of two, and they come with brackets. And they are made for outdoor like Jeeps, etc. So they're waterproof. They're not really designed for the saltwater environment, but I'm going to move them on and off the boat, and I'll rinse them off. I also found this rechargeable 12-volt battery. Again, I will put a full link or description in the description of this video below. I'm going to make the bracket with EMT electrical conduit, and these connections are from a company called MakerPipe. Now I had these left over from the duck hunting blind that I built last year, but you can just search for MakerPipe.com and you can buy those brackets. They're probably $4 a piece. They will work with either 3/4 or 1/2 inch EMT conduit. With the 1/2 inch, you do have to use a little plastic spacer or adapter, and MakerPipe provides those with the brackets. What's really nice about these is that they're reusable. Once you snug them up, and you snug them up just with an Allen key, it really cinches down on both pipes. This EMT conduit is very affordable. You can get it down at Home Depot or Lowe's. It's galvanized. It cuts pretty easily with a pipe cutter. And for this project, I used, like I said before, both the 3/4 and the 1/2 inch. Now I had some 90-degree MakerPipe fittings, and I also had a couple of 45s. And I had some T's, really just kind of using up, the fittings that I had, or working with the fittings that I had. But the 45s really worked out nicely. This is the part that's going to catch underneath the rub rail of the boat. So I've got 1/2 inch EMT conduit that's going to run down along the port and starboard side, and then I have a 3/4 inch down shaft. The longer portion of that I'm going to wrap with foam so it doesn't gouge my fiberglass. And the top portion I'll put another 90-degree MakerPipe fitting, and that will attach to the light. I'll show you exactly how I'm going to attach the light now. So I secured the bracket that came with the light. The hardware, even in the Allen key, was all included. And then I had to figure out how to attach that light, which ended up being pretty easy. It has almost a grooved mount to it, And I figure if I just drill a hole through the EMT, I can pull that pipe right down into that groove, and it really should be a nice secure fitting. Now I would definitely recommend using a drill press and a drill press vise, especially when drilling small lengths of the EMT. You really just don't want that, that drill bit to catch and for that EMT to spin on you. So now I'm going to attach the bracket to the EMT pipe. That hardware actually came with the light itself. And when I'm all done, once I test it and make sure it fits, I'm going to put some 5200 on the nut. And I'll show you later. I'm just going to make that nut more into like a lock nut so the vibration of running the boat won't ever loosen it up. So you can see how I've used another 90-degree fitting and now have slid that 3/4 inch EMT with the light mounted to it right into that fitting. So this is going to give me adjustability. I'm going to be able to mount this on the boat, and then I'm going to be able to pivot that light downward, up, down, left, right, and I should be able to get it exactly where I want it. The bottom, and this is the section that again is going to hook underneath the rub rail of the boat. I'm just going to put some pipe insulation. Just wrap it on with a little electrical tape. This will definitely wear out in time. There's not a lot of movement to it. It's really just holding pressure. But when it wears out, I'll just replace it. So now I've got one complete light bar. I'm just going to check the fitting, make sure it actually fits the way I want it to fit. So the back upright is going to slide right into those existing pipe mounts that were already in place. I'm going to swing it into position so that it is now the foam is in contact underneath the rub rail. And my original plan was just to put a bungee on that to the cleat in the bow, but it does have a tendency of twisting. It will hold it. It's definitely secure enough. It won't move up and down, but the light could drop down and twist. So I ended up deciding to put a crossbar, and that was extremely simple. Just two 90 degrees, two down shafts, and they'll slide right into those uprights. I'm going to move on to the wiring. Now, wiring a 12-volt light, it's pretty basic, but because I'm going to be using these in a saltwater environment, I did something a little bit different. So, number one, I used crimps, and these are actually crimps that can then have a heat shrink to them. So I crimped the wires, of course, red and black, etc. I crimped them. I used the heat shrink or a heat gun to shrink and seal them up. And now I'm going to use a marine sealant called 5200. I was a dive boat captain for over 20 years. I did a lot of maintenance on the boats. This stuff is forever. You could almost build a boat with it. Take out all the screws and it would still stay together. It's a little messy to work with. It comes in either black or white. I'm going to 5200 both ends. Just really want to make sure that no salt water, ever gets in at those connections. Notice that I've got another heat shrink, larger size, that's going to slide over all of those wires, including the 5200 that I just put on both ends of those connections. And then I'm going to heat that up and shrink it. That's going to really hold everything together, and it's going to actually cause some of that 5200 inside to kind of be squeezed out. It's going to fill in all of the voids, or hopefully all of the voids. And then when I'm done with that, I'm actually going to putty up both ends with more 5200. And then this stuff does take a little while to dry. I actually left it for 2 days. Once it's dry, it stays fairly pliable, but like I said before, it's forever. Now on the other side, I'm going to have the battery is going to be attached to one of the light bars and one of the lights, and then I'm going to have a disconnect and a wire that goes in between. So I'm just going to put a male and a female quick disconnect. I'm doing a male and female on each side, so there's no possibility of plugging in the wrong wire. Now these two ends will definitely be a little bit more susceptible to the corrosion of salt water, but I will protect them a little bit, and I will 5200 up the back end just to prevent any salt spray and salt water from running down into those connections and getting at the wire. I left the length a little bit long so that if it does corrode in the future, I can cut it off and resplice. Now the battery I put inside a small plastic ammo box. I had a pull switch, a marine pull switch, which I also put through the box, and then I'm just holding it all in together with some expandable foam that you would use inside your wall. That will become nice and hard. It'll hold the battery from moving around and pulling on any of the wires. And with the cover shut, that's a waterproof container. I am going to 5200 the hole where the wire goes into the box. And notice I didn't put the wire at the bottom just in case water gets in there. I don't want the wire to ever be in the water. So this is the way the system's going to go on. The port side is completely separate, not attached to the battery. It drops in and pivots over so that it's catching underneath that rub rail. The starboard side has the battery connected to it. That's also going to drop in to the pipe mounts in the back and then pivot into position. And then the crossbar is what's really going to make it rigid and tie both of those light bars together. There's a wire that runs across from the port to the starboard. That's where I have those quick disconnects. Plug those in. The ammo box or battery box, as it is now, is secured with a little bungee cord, and that has the pull switch to turn the lights on and off. Now, the one thing I would change, this system worked out really nice, super bright. It didn't last quite as long as we'd like it to. It lasted just under 2 hours. So what I'm actually going to do is add another battery box and another battery so that I can get at least 4 hours out of it. And that's all I need to go crabbing. If you have a boat that has a battery, you don't even need the battery box. My boat is a pull start, doesn't have a 12-volt system existing. So this is going to work out really, really well for us. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, I ask that you please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to this YouTube channel. I'd like to also ask you to check out BlueDayzGear.com. We've got an assortment of t-shirts and windbreakers and sweatshirts, all designed for the guys that love being out on the water. And I'd also like to invite you to visit my website, which is DIYEasyCrafts.com. And I have a whole bunch of do-it-yourself projects, not only fishing-related projects, but also nautical decor, nautical projects. I'm sure that you'll find something that you like just at www.DIYEasyCrafts.com. Thank you very much.